Hi guys, welcome back to Johnny Custom Glock Front Sight Press. On tonight's show, we have Cynthia Clark from Minnesota Elder Law and Julie Bales from Veritas Training Academy, one of our awesome instructors. And next week, Mike and Jeff will be back on. Okay. I want to thank our king sponsor, Johnny Custom Glocks, because life is too short to have a Glock trigger that sucks. Okay. He's got the best triggers out there for your Glocks. All right. Follow him on Instagram, and he puts up great videos so you can learn all about your Glocks. I also want to thank Sean Hilton from smokeshow3d.com, okay, for giving us all the awesome Glock blocks and giveaway for the stands. All right, if you have one of these on, you can go to his website, smokeshow3d.com, and enter the promo code FSP10 for 10% discount. Awesome. So you guys go get your beverage of choice because we're going to do the toast in a few minutes. In the meantime, subscribe to Musings with MGL and follow Jeffrey Young on our Sarasota Gun Lawyer. He puts up great gun law information. Like and share, like and share. So, you guys have your drinks. Here we go. Ready for the toast? May the hinges of friendship never rust, nor the wings of love lose a feather. Cheers.
Cheers. Nice.
Cheers. Hey, Cindy, where's Tim?
Tim, where are you? Oh, I don't know. He's far, far away.
So I want to remind you, this Saturday, December the 9th, from 3 p.m. onward, join us for our tour of SDE, the Self-Defense Emporium, and we're going to give away all the prizes people have won so far on Frontside Press. We're going to have some hot dogs and music and laughter. BYOB. I am not buying your booze, ladies and gentlemen. Bring your own bottle. Okay. It's going to be a good time. Like and share and comment. We'll give away another stand tonight in a block, courtesy of Sean Hilton at smokeshop3d.com in about 30 minutes. Smoke Show. Thank you. Smokeshow3d.com. Look at that. Don't listen to me. All right. All right, Cindy, what do you got tonight?
Well, there's actually been quite a bit going on in the gun law world recently. Most of it's small, fairly for average people, kind of under the radar stuff, doesn't make the big headlines. But one of our locals here in Sarasota, Lee Williams, a lot of people know him. He's the oh my God, I'm drawing a blank, the gun writer. And, I do subscribe to his channel. And he had a few articles. I picked out a few because I find them as a lawyer very interesting in reference to gun law. One of them we talked about, I actually talked with Jeff Young about this one. A few weeks ago. We briefly talked about it. This one woman in Florida, her husband, and I'm not going to go into names or even where it was in Florida, but this was Florida. And her husband here, I believe he was a firefighter. And anyway, he was injured and became addicted to painkillers. And when prescription painkillers were limited, he then turned to street drugs. Okay. So a bad scene for the guy. Anyway, one night or one day, he was on these drugs and he shot up his neighborhood. He shot at a neighbor's house. He didn't shoot at people. He shot at property, but he could have hurt somebody. And anyway, the cops were called. He was Baker acted. His guns were taken. The cops came and they took all of his guns, not just the ones he committed the crime with, but all of his guns. They confiscated them all. And anyway, long story short, because of his past history and his addiction problem, he was offered, I believe, 5 years probation if he, did certain things, and he had to give up his guns. Well, anyway, the wife gets to court. She was told she had to be there to sign paperwork or something, and she gets there, and she's in the courtroom, and the judge tells him he can't have any guns in his house. And apparently she says maybe she smirked or smiled or did something with her face that drew the judge's attention. And he looked at her and he said, you cannot have any guns either. You have a choice. It's your husband or your guns.
Oh.
He said, this judge said that because he's going to be a convicted felon, he cannot possess firearms. And he made her sign this document saying that she would give up her guns. And not only did they take, so the guns they took out of the house, some were the husband's, some were hers, some were their sons. Okay? They took them all. And anyway, blatantly illegal. There is nothing. Well, yes, convicted felon, he cannot possess firearms at all. But her son bought his mom a gun safe with its own. Apparently, this was a keyed gun safe, just one key for her, which is perfectly legal. She could keep all of her guns and her son's guns in that safe. And that is perfectly legal, even with a convicted felon in the house. So this judge was making up his own laws. So stuff like this is still going on. And apparently because she had she wasn't on trial. So she didn't have a lawyer with her. She signed the document. What do you do? They're now trying to fight it, but she's still scared that if she won't even go pick up her guns from the police because she's afraid that they're going to find some pretext to change her husband's sentence. So, so that was one thing. And I find that just really appalling because the law says convicted felon cannot possess firearms. It does not say your spouse cannot possess firearms. It doesn't say you can't have firearms in the house. You just can't access them. Okay? So that was one article I thought was really interesting. Another one, kind of following on that same line, another police department, I'm trying to remember what happened here. I was reading about this. Oh, yeah, this guy, he was involved in a self-defense shooting. So this guy was involved in a self-defense shooting. The cops came. Apparently there was a guy threatening him and taunting him, saying, shoot me, shoot me, shoot me, and threatening him at the same time. Anyway, the gun did discharge, but it was an accidental discharge when he tripped and fell because he was backing away from the bad guy. And he was backing away with his gun in his hand. Apparently his finger on the trigger, maybe. And again, he was in fear. He thought this guy was going to hurt him. Anyway, he tripped, fell. The gun had a discharge. Nobody was hurt. But of course, the cops came. They took his gun. They took his ammunition. He was not charged. They investigated it. He was not charged. He went to get his gun. And they eventually gave him his gun. It's not as easy as just going down to the police station and getting your gun. He finally got his gun, but they would not give him his ammunition. And it was expensive home self-defense ammunition. they would not give him it. And anyway, he was not happy. Florida carry, their lawyers have looked at this and they say, again, blatantly illegal. The cops have no right to confiscate your ammunition, none. And to keep it. In other words, they just kept it for themselves. Yeah. So that's an interesting thing too. Now the police, head of the police department in this town, said he didn't realize that was still in effect in his town. And that he said, ammunition will be given back. And then they said, well, we always give back everything. As long as people ask for their stuff within the 90-day period, they'll get it back. Well, this guy said he requested all this stuff to be returned well before 90 days. And they didn't. So again, and this isn't isolated. Everything you hear is happening in different areas. So that's, and again, this is Florida, which is supposed to be a freedom state. And then another one, and this is something we all know, and this kind of raises some interesting questions, but so everybody who gets a concealed carry permit and goes through a good concealed carry class, okay, knows you cannot bring a gun into a bar. Okay?
Yeah.
It's that says it right in our statute that you can't do it. Well,
excuse me, I'll drink to that. Just saying, I'll drink to that.
So, and there's always been this weird thing. Well, what if you're at Beef O'Brady's or someplace and you're not at the bar, but you're outside the bar, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, the gist of it is, the idea is you're not supposed to be drinking and have a gun on you, okay? So anyway, in these two particular cases, these gentlemen were sitting at a bar, and for one reason or another, their gun that was concealed on their person became visible to a witness. Okay. In one instance, I don't even know how they saw it. Somebody noticed he had a gun. Maybe his shirt came up or whatever. The other one, he actually lifted his shirt up to show a surgery scar. And somebody saw the gun and called the cops, blah, blah, blah. So both of these guys were arrested for being, for having a gun in the bar. There were several laws that they allegedly broke. But here's an interesting thing. Bruin, the Supreme Court case that passed, when was that? This year flew. It might have been earlier this year. But the one that expanded, that said that for a gun law to be constitutional, it has to pass a very high bar now. Okay. In other words, we have to look back at historical context and, a whole bunch of things. So government cannot just say, oh, in the name of public safety, we're doing this. We ban this. We're going to do that. We're going to take that away. In the name of public safety, they can't do that anymore. They have to prove that a similar type of law existed back in the 1700s. So that's going to be a tough thing to prove a lot of times. Well, anyway, we never had a law at that time saying that people couldn't go into bars with guns. So the question now that people are asking, lawyers are asking, is that statute in Florida unconstitutional? Now, that doesn't mean a bar owner can't say we don't want guns in here, And if you do come in, then you're trespassing and they have the right to ask you to leave. If you come back again with the gun, then you can be arrested. So, I mean, the same as any private property. But it raises some interesting questions as to things that we have accepted for decades as law. And again, you know, a lot of us say, well, that's kind of common sense. We don't want drunk people waving, you know, having guns. And yet we all know that people drink in their homes, they drink everywhere, and they may be carrying a gun. And just because they're carrying a gun doesn't mean they're going to use it, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so that again, Bruin has really opened the door to striking down, or potentially striking down, a lot of statutes and laws that have been on the books for a very long time, but under those historical standards may not be constitutional.
Wow.
And Cindy, can I ask, is this like Florida specific, or is this all over the U.S.? Is Bruin
was the
Florida?
Supreme Court of the United States.
Of United States, okay. So if he watches a John Wayne movie, he'll know that back in the day, people carried their guns into the saloon. See, case closed.
Yep.
I think I should be a lawyer. I think I should. Very simple. Very simple.
That's you know, and so I mean, these are some interesting things, and I've always had a hard time with the convicted felon law. And the reason is, historically, when the feds eventually decided to get into the game of regulating firearms, remember that didn't even happen until the 1930s. That's when they first put their foot in the water. Before that, it was all regulated by states. So the feds, when they first came out with their prohibited people who weren't allowed to have guns, it said it was felons convicted of violent crimes. Okay? I'm good with that one. But if you lie on your tax return, you can't own a gun. Is there any logic to that?
No.
No, but can we wait until Hunter's case was adjudicated and then take this up? Let's wait till it's all over for him, and then
Yeah. And well, knowing the Supreme Court, it'd probably be a decade before anybody, well, who knows, but and that's the other thing, you know, we lay a lot on the Supreme Court because we're like, well, we think, being that the Supreme Court said this in this ruling, that now this is unconstitutional and that's unconstitutional. But here's the deal, is not every judge, they will find little weasel ways to get around what the Supreme Court said. So that's why you have some circuit courts saying, oh yeah, that's perfectly constitutional. And then another circuit court going, oh no, according to Bruin, that's not constitutional. So, and the only way to resolve that is for the Supreme Court to answer it. And it takes forever for the Supreme Court, and they don't take every case. Sometimes they're like, no, you know what, if we say nothing, then the law stands as it is, and that's it. So anyway, it's like I said, it's kind of an interesting landscape. The bad part is, you know, we live under an administration right now that is so anti-gun owner. So anti-civilian gun owner. That's what I'm going to say. They're not anti-guns. They're perfectly happy hiring security people, but they're anti-civilian gun owners.
Yeah.
And 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 we were talking before we got online tonight about the ATF banning the non-lethal, basically training ammunition. And the big question on that, I'd heard about it a little bit, but I never really looked into it. And so what's happening is one of the big companies got a letter from the ATF saying that they can no longer import this ammunition, this non-lethal ammunition like simunition. This was not simunition. That's a different company, but similar company. And they import it from, I think it's the UK. And they got a letter saying they can only import it for delivery to law enforcement and the military. And before they could import it to firearms instructors, you know? Well, again, is this illegal? Is the ATF stepping over their boundaries? Oh, I absolutely believe so. Number one, it's non-lethal ammunition.
Yeah.
Why is the ATF even involved in it? And number two, what is the rationale there? And the only thing that people think that they might be hanging their hat on is the importation aspect of it. Because apparently simunition is imported to America from Canada. And this other company, and I forgot the name of it now, this other company, I believe, is in England. And so they're both importing into the United States. And they think they're using the import laws on firearms. They think that's how the ATF is justifying what they're doing. But so that's going to be something that we'll see more of, as court cases progress.
And that really leaves firearms instructors holding the bag, because a lot of people don't access a range. They don't teach at a range. And so as much as I disagree with it, the concealed carry class that has you fire one into the box and it's a simunition or something, those guys aren't going to be able to operate. People in New Jersey, they won't be able to teach. I know I feel really bad for them. That's their own fault. But that being said, they're not going to be able to teach unless they're in a range and they cross all their T's and dot all their I's. So
right. Well, the only thing, I don't know whether there's any companies in the United States that make this kind of non-lethal ammunition. I think maybe, and again, I don't know. I really didn't look into it that much, but it's worthy of further discussion at another time. But maybe if it's made in America and sold within America, maybe the ATF doesn't have any jurisdiction over that. Again, because why is the ATF involved? I mean, the ATF, it is ammunition in the sense that it goes in a real gun, but, well, I don't know. Let's think about this. Does the ATF regulate blanks for like prop guns and things like that? I don't know.
Ask what's his name.
Baldwin. Oh,
Baldwin.
Mike told me to drink before this because that would make me funnier, and it's just made me stupid. But yeah, ask Alec how he feels about that.
oh
Yeah. So again, it's unfortunately, when you have an administration that basically has said, we don't want civilians owning guns, so we've got to find backdoor ways to make it miserable or impossible for them to have guns and ammunition. And that's what they're doing. I mean, obviously, everybody knows what they've been doing to FFL people. I mean, they have never closed this many FFLs in 1 year. Matter of fact, I mean, they've closed more FFLs in 2023 than I think they've done in like a decade. So, and it's because they're now, instead of being a helpful, hey, we're here to make sure you do things right. Now they are, I hate to say jackbooted thugs, but that's kind of what they're doing. They're coming in and going, oh, there's 5 of these. You did 10,000 sales last year, and we found 5 times that you did not mark this little box that has nothing to do with whether that person is prohibited or not, but you marked it wrong. We think you're doing it on purpose, so we're closing you down. They're getting to that. And it's, again, they want to make it extremely difficult for average people to own guns.
Yeah.
Well, here's one for you. Let's go back to bump stocks. Okay. And end around our American ingenuity has allowed us to develop an end around. Julie, are you watching the comments? Because I want to hear more about this. But a friend of mine sent me a video. You can't see him tonight?
Tonight on this.
Well, he sent me a video of Thanksgiving. They were having a Thanksgiving Day shootout at their home range in Kentucky or somewhere. But anyway, he sent it to me and was telling me how much fun they were having. And I said, how's he making that go full auto? Because that's what it was. And he said it's called bump shooting. Now, so you hook your finger in your belt loop and you pull the gun forward, and then he says somehow the motion of your body makes it go, and it sounded full auto, and it looks very weird. It looks like the guy's doing something that he should be arrested for other reasons with his gun. But, I had never heard of bump shooting. Has anybody else? As a workaround?
Yep. It actually came up during the arguments against the bump stock ban, because what happened is the people that said, why are you banning bump stocks? People have been figuring out ways to do this for quite a while. There's something you can do with a rubber band. They've done the belt thing. What else, Tim? There were some other weird things.
Just moving your finger in the back and forth like that.
Well, let me tell you, he wasn't moving his finger back and forth. It looked very, it looked very X-rated. But anyway, it's pretty. Well, I don't get into such stuff, but yeah.
And there's always been different, ways for people to do this. And basically the ATF's answer is, yes, we know that there's ways people do this, but those ways are not very easy, and this, that, and the other. And basically there was no thing they could ban. So the bump stock was an easy thing to ban. And again, we still don't even know why the ATF got involved, because it's an accessory. ATF does not regulate accessories. So
Gotcha.
the whole thing was weird, but there was no political cover. In other words, it was an easy thing for people to cave on because there wasn't huge political support not to ban the bump stocks. It doesn't matter whether it was right or wrong. It doesn't matter that the ATF probably didn't have the regulatory authority. There just wasn't. I mean, we had a president, President Trump. He's the one that said we got to ban these bump stocks. And sure enough, the ATF did. So, and then Florida. I mean, Florida did. So, yeah. Yep. It's been around for a while.
I don't know. I just wanted to send a note to my friend and say, warn he could go blind just by the way, the looks of what's going on. His mama should tell him he could go blind.
God. Oh my.
Oh, God. Yep. So that's, I'm trying to think if there's been anything else really going on in the gun law world.
Say, are you coming Saturday, Cindy?
Oh,
are you coming
Yep.
Saturday?
we're gonna try, Julie. I know. My life right now, we had to cancel. We were supposed to go fishing tomorrow morning, but we canceled that because our life is just stupidly crazy right now. Yeah, I'm working 2 jobs, and my parents are older, and I have to do things for them, and it's just one thing and another. But anyway, we are trying to get there.
Okay. That'll be
The
fun.
one thing that I will mention too, this is kind of interesting. The wait times for NFA tax stamps.
Yeah.
We had an interesting thing. We went to, oh God, when was that, Tim?
It was in December.
Last December? Last December, a local gun shop was running a birthday special for the owner. And they had all kinds of things on sale, including suppressors. So, of course, we went. And a friend of ours went. He came all the way down from Tampa to go to this gun shop because, we like the gun shop and all of that. So we went down, and we stood in line. The place was packed. And we stood in line waiting to do the paperwork for the NFA items. And we were together. Well, he got called up first. We still don't know why. It's like the line did not seem to matter. They were just randomly calling people. But anyway, so we wait in line. He gets called up first. He does I had done a trust for him. So he does the trust, he gave him the trust on the PDF. He did his fingerprints, passport photo, the whole thing, filled out the paperwork on, they do it all digitally now. And went on his merry way. He left, said bye. We're standing there freezing to death because the air conditioning was freezing cold and it was freezing outside. And we're Floridians, so we were freezing. I'm sitting there trying to stay warm. Waited and waited. We waited another hour after he left. And we still didn't get up to the counter. And finally, Tim looks at me and he's like, he asked somebody, he goes, "Can we just come back during the week?" And the guy, he goes, "Yeah, here, just give us your thing and you can come back." So we did. We came back during the week and did the paperwork, the fingerprints, all that good stuff. Well, we got our tax stamp in 7 months. He just got his. The guy that was with us, he just got his tax stamp today. Yeah. What is the rationale there? Apparently, and this is what's really awful. So our friend has some connections. He did not use his connections, obviously, or he wouldn't have waited 12 months. But finally, it just got so stupid that Tim he called the other day, and Tim half jokingly said, "Hey, you said you knew a guy in the FBI. Maybe you need to ask for a favor." And he's like, "Well, I really don't want to use up my favors for something like that." He called the guy. In 10 minutes, his application was approved.
Wow.
Yep.
It was sitting on somebody's desk.
It had just been sitting on somebody's desk.
Of course.
Yeah. But I mean, how awful is that?
Yeah.
I thought maybe your friend went through Title II manufacturing.
Oh!
And you got yours because you stayed in line and went elsewhere. You will represent me when I get sued, right, Cindy? Come on.
No, that's Jeff's job.
Oh, okay.
I'll do your will and your trust.
Yes.
Okay.
And she did a wonderful job. Fix me right
I'm
up.
sure.
Yes.
Good.
Absolutely. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah. You guys
And
need to
of course-
contact Cindy. Absolutely. If you want to trust and you want your tax stamp, definitely contact Cindy.
Yep.
Yep.
Well,
Awesome.
I want to tell Sean that when I see him while I'm having my hot dog and my BYOB on Saturday,
Yes. Yes.
I have never won one of his blocks. Is that what the
Buy
never.
one.
So
They're cheap.
I know I could buy one. I know. But it's just so much more fun to win one. But
I know.
he should bring them, and those of us who haven't won them might decide to purchase them on site.
Definitely.
So-
Definitely. But like and share, comment. Come on.
I am full of comments, as we all know.
Oh dear. We need you spin for a stand and a block soon. Like and share, comment, and we'll give away another stand and another block, and you can pick it up this Saturday. Yeah.
Ooh, did you give the address?
It is
For excuse
Bullseye.
me,
All right.
for SD.
Wrong address. It's at Bullseye. Look at Bullseye Gun Range. Yeah. And it'll get you to the right place. We don't have an address yet for SDE. But yeah, come out and join us. We're going to have a good time. Lots of drinks, lots of fun, music. Probably not live music, but something. So it'll be fun. Are you okay?
No, I'm joking. I couldn't find the mute. God did not give me a mute. He should have. We all know that he should have given me a personal mute button, but I can't seem to find it. So.
Oh, geez. Yeah. So, Carrie, let's get ready to spin for the stand. You got it. I can't see any comments or shares. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I have not seen anybody. So, take it. Yeah, you're good. You're good. So we're going to have a good time. Today, we went out to Manatee Gun and Archery, and a couple of our guys were doing AR-15s, running and gunning. Awesome jobs. These guys are professional golfers. And whenever you have a professional athlete They are so easy to train. And these guys are absolutely amazing. Just, they
Plus,
learn
they were
so
young.
fast.
I mean, they were young
They
people
live,
with young eyes and young
yeah,
reflexes
and they are
and
young.
athletic.
They're in their late 20s, maybe early 30s, and they are athletes. So they have been coached and they absolutely listen to what you're saying. They do exactly what you tell them to do. And these two guys who have come out maybe 3 times, have become incredible shooters, incredible with their pistols and today with their ARs, running and gunning, and just amazing guys. So, yeah.
Wow.
All right, we're ready. Go ahead for the stand. First for the stand.
Oh my gosh!
Look at that.
Johnny.
Holy crap! I've never
Yeah,
won.
not rigged. I promise you, it's not rigged.
Wait, do I have to give that back?
No, it
All
is
right,
yours. Now for the
screw it.
block.
I'm keeping
I got you. For the block. Block. This is an amazing tool.
it.
Yeah. Cat. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You can give one for Christmas. All right, you
Wow, this
guys.
has really been a ladies' night tonight, hasn't it? Ladies
Yeah.
winning, ladies working.
Nothing for class that I know of, honey. I may be wrong, but I don't have that. All right, you guys. We'll see you on Saturday night for the giveaways and the tour of SDE. Um, so make sure you sign up for Musings with MGL. You want to become a follower there. He gives all kinds of great information. Cindy, thank you so much for coming. Want to thank us and take us out? Sponsors.